Welcome to Marketing Masters, everybody. Shane Murphy is with us today. He's the CEO, founder of Boostly, and a lot of people are using Boostly. Shane, what is Boostly? What is your 30-second quick elevator description of Boostly?
Yeah, so Boostly at its most basic form is an SMS marketing system for restaurants. Specifically, we primarily serve pizzerias, and our whole goal is to drive more people in more often, so they're spending more money. We also collect feedback and have a wide range of ways that we engage with the restaurant's customer base.
So did you just wake up one day and you decided that you wanted to target the pizza segment, or how did you end up with the business model that is Boostly today?
Yeah, so initially when me and my co-founders started our company, we actually started as an online ordering system with some built-in marketing tools. And what we found through that process is a lot of people in the beginning were buying our online ordering system that was a very bare bones ordering system just to get access to the marketing tools that we had built on top. And we also found that we were limited in the level of marketing that we could, execute for a restaurant because we were only dealing with our own data. And we went to the drawing board and said, what if we weren't an online ordering company at all? We're really just doing what we specialize in, focus on the text marketing and the feedback. And instead of getting our data from our own system, we tie into all of the other point of sales, online ordering vendors, phone systems, loyalty programs, reservation systems, and take all of that data in and then execute marketing. And that's what led us to do what we're doing today.
Right. So when did that happen? Was that 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 18 months ago?
Yeah, so we started the company back in 2017, and that's when we were focused
2017.
And that's when we were focused on online ordering. And then in 2018 and beyond, we were specifically focused on text marketing and feedback.
That's amazing, because I don't know whether it was the 2019 or the 2020 Pizza Power report, but the biggest takeaway that I got from all of our research is that consumers were clamoring to order pizza by text. And now the timing seems to have just been about right for you.
Yeah, it really was great. And that's the beautiful thing about text is it is still the primary mode of communication for consumers. So if you want to engage with your audience, there's no better vehicle than right on their cell phone.
Yeah. So how many pizzerias do you or restaurants? You're not just for pizzerias. You're for restaurants mostly, or is it beyond even restaurants?
Yeah. So we only serve restaurants, and I would say 80 to 85% of our customer base is focused on pizzerias. Good.
That's great. We like that. That's good. Because pizza, we have the most interactions online ordering anyway, so that's a good place to be. Are there ways that your customers? What are some of the best ways that they use them? I'm particularly thinking about opportunities to leverage their existing email customers, and if you try to get text information through emails and vice versa.
Yeah, that's a great question, because email is very different from texting as well. There's a different direct nature that you get with SMS on someone's phone than you do through an email. And texting has different regulations as well. Very, very strict on the opt-in process. You can't just start texting a customer without their consent. It's very much they raise their hand and say, hey, I want to receive these texts. And this can be built up a few ways. You can leverage an email type program where you can say, hey, would you rather hear from us via text? If so, click this button to join our text club. Other ways that people join is through, point of sale data or online ordering experiences where they can, through that process, request to opt in, or we can ask them if they'd like to join after an order and they can reply why to join the text club. And those are very effective ways to build up that textable audience. It's one of the unique things about Boostly and our background is that we go and dive into all the data sources that they have and use that data to build up that textable audience right out of the gate. Most texting programs, and you've probably seen this, the only way to join a text club tends to be you walk into a store, you see a sign with a keyword like pizza that you can text to a phone number. And it often takes, a pizzeria, 1 to 2 years to build up enough people in their text club to actually make an impact on their business, leveraging the data that they have, whether that's in their email program, their point of sale, phone system, online ordering, and getting people to opt in through that process. We build up a substantial audience on their very first day where hundreds to thousands of people are opted in and coming in and actually transacting off of their very first text message.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that you've learned a lot in the last few years working with all these pizzerias. What are some of your best customers doing that are the ones that you tell stories about? Do you have any good stories to tell us about some of your customers doing amazing things?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many ways to interact with your audience through text message. I'd say probably one of the most common use cases is a pizzeria sending out offers and promotions. So for example, like Russo's New York Pizzeria, they have about 50 locations. And recently they did a testimonial with us where they shared about the offers that they were sending out and they do a good job of having variety. It's not just the same thing every single week. Right. It might be, $5 off a $25 order this week. Next week, it might be free garlic knots with a $25 purchase. They have a lot of variety in the mix, but they ran all of their data, and after food costs and after discounts, they were getting an 800% return on their marketing spend, which meant that across their entire brand, if they spent $1 on texting, they were getting $8 back on top of that dollar that they spend. And a big part of that is the way they have variety in their offers. They also leverage Boostly's tools where we know if a customer is an engaged customer or a disengaged customer. And we can treat those customers differently and send them different types of things to cause them to just move towards transaction in that customer journey. There's another group that just recently, about a week and a half ago, had a really fun experience where they used some of Boostly's advanced marketing features where you've probably been on the receiving end of this. Most texting programs are just a mass messaging service where you send the same thing to everybody across the board, regardless of how they interact with the brand, and they get this message. But different types of customers need different things. And especially when you're trying to re-engage lapsed customers, sometimes you have to do something novel to just get them to pay attention and really interact with you so that they're thinking about you the next time they're going out to eat. And there was this one location pizzeria called Brick's Corner, and they did something that we call the lottery text. And this is a unique type of message that actually allows the customer to interact with it. It's like playing a game instead of just receiving a text where the message might say something like, hey, it's lottery time, reply with a number 1 to 100 to win a free large pizza. Try your luck. And this taps into the gambling center of their brain, and people just have fun. They're like, what's going to happen if I reply with a number? And so they reply with a number. If it's a winning number, they get sent the winning promotion. Otherwise, they get a lower value consolation offer. And this was just incredible at getting their disengaged customers to actually interact with the brand and engage. They had over 40% of their audience go and play this game.
Yeah.
And that not only drove transactions, but it also made people who hadn't thought about them in months have a positive interaction that they're telling their friends about and causing other people to go and engage with Brick's Corner as well. And there's just so many ways to interact with texting. For example, collecting feedback to help retain your guests. You want to know if someone had a bad experience without it being a negative review. And texting enables you to collect that feedback and engage. You can manage birthday clubs. You can send out promotions. You can tell people that, hey, it's double points day next Thursday, so come on in. The use cases are endless, and it's a matter of how you use your customer data to engage with them on a personal level to then get them to come and transact more often.
How if somebody's a Boostly customer, do they have like a marketing counselor, or do they have a buffet that they go to? How do they manage to come up with these ideas, and how much do they need to spend or commit to make this thing really take off?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, the first part is on like the resources of help with marketing. And we have a team of marketing experts, and every single customer of ours has a dedicated marketing expert who looks at all of the trends. They work with hundreds of different brands and can take all of the insights and data to apply what we know is going to work for that pizzeria, apply it to their menu, to their customer demographics. And so they have an actual dedicated marketing expert who's looking at their account, watching it, and helping to optimize it as time goes on. Because we care way less about how much we make as a business from them as a customer. What we really care about is producing a high return on their investment. For every single dollar they spend, are they getting $8 to $10 back? And how can we optimize that experience? And so, for example, we have like a pay for what you use model where people can just pay for what they send. They don't have to send a certain amount of texts. A lot of that depends on how big is their audience, how much data do they have. There might be people who spend very little, but they're getting a really high return. And we're excited about that because that means it's working. And then there are others that are sending hundreds of thousands of texts every single week, and their spend might be more. We have volume-based pricing, so the more you're sending, you can get discounts on the price. But the thing that holds true across the board is, what is their ROI? How much revenue is this actually driving after all the costs from Boostly to food costs, et cetera, are baked in?
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the POS companies that you work with? And do you have certain partners that you work with more than others?
Yeah, great question. I mean, we have a lot of partners. It's really hard to find a point of sale that we don't work well with. Most point of sales have the ability to make it really easy for customers to access their customer data and pull that out. They know that's valuable to their customers. And so we're able to go and leverage data from pretty much every point of sale out there. I'd say the systems that are harder to actually access data from are the third parties, like the DoorDashes and the Ubers that intentionally restrict the restaurant's access to customer data. But it's really hard to find a point of sale system that Boostly doesn't work well with. And that came from our background of saying we were an online ordering system and we were restricted because we were just working with our own data. We felt that as a first-class citizen for us to work well with all the different point of sale vendors and online ordering systems out there in order to provide the biggest value to our customer.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, as somebody who knows more than I do about what you know, what would you ask yourself if you were me? Or what's an interesting question that you would ask yourself that I'm forgetting to ask you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a really common one that we get asked is just what are the differences between like Boostly, for instance, and every other texting system out there? Because there are a lot. There are
Okay.
plenty of text marketing products out there, and there are a few things that set us apart. And we've kind of touched on a couple of these. One is that we only work in the restaurant sector. And so we've made working with all of the data sources that a restaurant experiences, a first-class citizen for our product.
Yeah.
And we aren't just a mass marketing tool. We can use the behavioral data of how customers engage with a brand and use it to tailor the marketing strategy. And it's really built so that it can largely be automated for these restaurant owners, because we know how it is. There are so many things on their plate. They don't have time to focus on marketing. They don't have a background in marketing oftentimes. And so it goes and sits on the shelf, knowing in the back of my mind, I should be doing something to drive sales, but I don't know what to do. And so with Boostly, they can push play. It automatically runs, and they just see the results every single week. We track the returns, the redemptions, and the engagement. We track feedback. We generate reviews on public platforms that are 5 stars. We collect internal feedback if it's a bad experience. All of those things really separate us from just a generic texting platform. And then another common question is, let's say somebody is interested in texting and they don't want to use Boostly. What should they be aware of, and how can they set themselves up for success, even if they're using someone else? One of the most important things to remember is that text marketing is a federally regulated space. The Telephone Consumer Protection Act is something that you don't want to mess around with. Some people have done the wrong way, and they just upload all their customer data to like a generic SMS marketing system. They start texting everybody without their permission, and there are massive fines that can come as a result of that. And you just don't want to mess around with that. And so making sure that as you're looking for a texting partner, you're thinking of compliance first is very, very crucial. Making sure opt-in guidelines are being followed, making sure people know how to opt out. It's a requirement that anyone who replies stop gets removed and doesn't receive more texts. Those types of things you just want to be aware of as you're out looking for building a texting program.
Wow, that's extremely important. You don't first do no harm. You don't want to screw up your customers and your reputation.
Certainly.
What is there a percentage that you recommend or that you see pizza operators spending of their sales, or how do they determine what their budget is for Boostly or text marketing?
Yeah, that's a great question, because everyone manages it differently. Often you'll find, hey, I have this certain amount that I'm allocating towards marketing. And historically in the restaurant industry, we've all had that challenge and that experience of tracking what works. And often marketing feels like I'm throwing money at the wall and I don't know how it actually panned out. And so that's a common way that people think about it. I'm going to allocate a certain percentage of my sales towards marketing and marketing expenses. Hopefully it works. But often once they find something that is really working, and they find that if I'm putting enough money into it, it is spitting out on a regular basis a very solid return, then that budget kind of morphs, because they say, okay, what are the needs of my business? Can I take on extra business? To what degree can I take on extra business? And is this a reliable way that, hey, if I ramp up my spend, by X percent, it's going to continue to pay me back in kind? And so often it starts with a budget, and then it starts measuring results and the needs of the business. Because that's an important thing too. There are certain types of restaurants that can only take on so much extra business, and you need to be cautious about managing your spend. But that's the nice thing about our system is we care less about how much you spend, and it's more about what is the value that you're actually extracting from this and making sure that it's a pure win no matter what.
Yeah. Well, what do you see metrically in terms of online ordering? It's over 50% for carryout, 20% for delivery. Does anybody order for sit down? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, people do, and it really does depend on the pizzeria in question. There's no question takeout and delivery has risen. Even it's still up past the pre-COVID metrics. So there is less dine-in, but it still absolutely happens. And again, it depends on the demographics of the restaurant, the pizzeria. There are also plenty of pizzerias out there that are only takeout and delivery. And so I'd say it can be all over the map, but there's no question takeout and delivery has been on the rise. The percentage of consumers placing online orders versus call-in or a walk-in order has gone way up as well. There's still plenty of people calling through that phone though, and so between the phone and online ordering, that tends to take a majority of a pizzeria's sales in particular. But that change based on the type of pizzeria and restaurant that you are.
Okay, well, I have one final question, unless you have another question you'd like to answer. But for those people that are watching this entire video or an abbreviation of it, is there some kind of a special PMQ offer you would be willing to offer our viewers?
Yeah, great question. And so what I would say is we do have special offers specific to the PMQ audience. And again, it often depends on how you're structuring it, how much data you have access to. We have a pay for what you use plan so that you can start off without really any commitments at all and just pay, send a text and see the results. And it's on to keep earning your business every single month. To access the PMQ specific discounts, they would go to boostly.com/PMQ. So boostly.com/PMQ, and they'll get access to that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Shane, very much. You're very enthusiastic and in person and online. So I hope to see you at another show soon. Are you going to be at the NRA show?
We will be at NRA, yes.
Okay, well, we will see you at the NRA show.
Wonderful. We look forward to seeing you there. Thanks so much for the chance to chat today, Steve.
You're very welcome. Pleased to have you.